Bring this forward. Just see me better. There we go. So on our shins, and we come into this balasana, we sit back onto our heels to begin with. If this is a lot for you, build yourself up with a block between your legs, okay? And that will take some pressure off of your knees. So in a true balasana, we have our legs together. We're going to fold over, taking our hands back. We let our shoulders melt downward as we let our head melt down. I'm going to keep my head raised up just a bit so you can hear me still. And then you tuck your chin in and you let your neck release so that then now your forehead or your hairline are connected to the mat and you're weighted down, chest onto your thighs. And then you let yourself go. You let yourself, your shoulders separate. You let the back of your neck release. You let your entire spine release. You let your breath push down into your thighs. So it's like a yoga ball or like a really tight fetal position here. Think about growth and starting from just a seed. And here we are in this seed-like state. Breathing in and out. And I know it's a bit constricted. Let's stay with it for a few more breaths here. As we will start to open like a flower, slowly blooming. And now go ahead and let your arms shift forward onto the mat, palms down. Let your legs open, toes together, and knees out. And now we're coming into that wide-legged child's pose, okay? And I'm gonna go ahead and let my forehead come back to the ground. My forearms are on the ground, my palms are on the ground, my elbows are on the ground. And I'm shifting my hips left and right. When I do that, I'm going to feel that in my obliques. It takes my obliques to do this. It takes my QL, quadriceps lumborum, the low back muscle to do this. It takes my glutes and my hip muscles to make this shift back and forth. And then come into calm with your hips. Let yourself just be in this wide-legged child's pose here. Taking your breath down into your belly. And now instead of feeling your breath pushing down onto your thighs, you feel it pushing out into the inner thighs. And let's do some shoulder waking up here. So I'm going to take my right arm, bring that hand towards my right knee, flip it up, send it under my left armpit, and rest my right side of my head and my right shoulder on the ground. And my left hand can stretch out farther forward, okay? And you're gonna feel that. Or you can bring that left arm down to the ground if you want less of an expression. The other thing that you can do is take that left arm behind your waist, trying to grab in at the pressing point of your right thigh and right hip, and just kind of a little bind here. So those were several options. You take one that feels right for you. Whatever you're doing though, not any weight on your neck here, okay? Your weight is mostly on your shoulder, that arm that is extended outward or forward. Take a couple breaths here. And then slide the left hand back right close to your face, lift it to the ground a little bit and pull out that right arm, and then slide both hands back. Tap your forehead to the ground with an exhale. The left hand comes towards your left knee, flip it up, send it under your right armpit. Left shoulder comes to the ground, that takes the weight. Then the side of your head just rests gently there. And then you decide what you're going to do with that extended arm that's out front. Do you keep it just pressing down into the palm, or maybe lifting palm up and into the fingertips? Or are you going to let your forearm rest on the ground and the elbow rest and make this a little less active? Or do you want to take a bind and wrap that arm around your back? And just whatever you're doing, whichever position you decided on, breathe and breathe. And then releasing that right arm, if you had it behind you, take it forward and then bring it back a little bit towards your face. Press down, bring that other arm up. Both hands slide forward, tap your forehead on the ground. Peaceful warrior, AKA wide-legged child's pose here. And then bring both hands towards your knees, slide up. And then let's take our knees together, our legs together. And again, if this is a lot for you, place that block, all right, to sit on that block. But we're going to work into the feet. We had that request from Chris, so we're going to do screaming toes. So I want you to come onto the balls of your feet. Rest your hips back on your heels. And again, if this is a lot, you can come up, but then you won't get that screaming toe effect. Pull out all your toes, including that pinky. Try to keep your feet together, and you're going to feel that weight coming in and opening up underneath the foot area there, the fascial area. So we're just going to do a little bit with our arms so we forget about our feet. I'm going to lift my arms up, inhale. I'm going to exhale, cactus, take a look up. Inhale, lifting, lengthening side body. Exhale, pull down, cactus. 2 more times, rise up. Open up fingertips, cactus arms, exhale. So you've already forgotten about your toes, I'm sure. Lift up, inhale. And exhale, hands come down onto your thighs. And from here, we're just going to take 3 or 4 shoulder rolls back. And releasing and coming around in the opposite direction. And then just take a forward and back with your pelvic area, okay? So I'm not doing a lot. I'm not moving into the head so much. I'm just coming forward with my pelvic bones, bringing them back, okay? Just in this area. And then I'm going to say that's enough on the screaming toes. I'm going to release. I'm going to pound them out. And then I'm going to find myself in tabletop. So we've transitioned from that balasana, that real tight balasana, into our wide-legged, shoulder stretching, feet stretching, and now we're on our hands and knees and finding good alignment, all right, wrists and shoulders and hips and knees. And then I'm going to take a rocking cat-cow. So we're going to work with our feet a little bit more again. So tuck into those toes, okay? Release your belly down, look up, press down into the balls of your feet, and then flatten out your feet to the tops of the feet, curl in to your cat and take yourself back towards your hips. That's an exhale, okay? We did that a little bit slower, but go ahead with your breath now. Tuck the toes, look up, and then flatten. Tops of the feet, come back, curl, tuck, and round. Bring yourself up, forward, curling, looking, and flattening, and come back. We'll do a couple more of these rocking cat-cows. And bring yourself back. And now, I want to make sure I stay in your view. We're going to go from our hands and knees into bringing ourselves back to our heels. Take the head down so you're almost back into that peaceful warrior, wide-legged a bit. And then you're going to slide your hands forward, bring your body forward, toes come up. Here we've got some hip flexor opening here for those people that wanted hips. And we're looking up and we're hanging in this hanging cobra pose, right? So toes are flexed, and that's a good way to also work into the feet. Hips are down, our gaze is up, our heart is pulling through our chest. We're getting some upper body strengthening with weight bearing on our arms. And then we're going to bring ourselves back. Exhale, take yourself back down into that peaceful warrior, that wide-legged child's pose. That'll be our exhale. Let's flow with that now. Inhale brings us up and forward. Hip flexor. Exhale, taking us back. Inhale. And exhale. Keep going, you guys. Your own breath flow. So your inhale may be different than mine. All right, so we have that. Everybody's beautiful in their own way, right? We're all doing our own thing. I sing that song to my plants because they're all doing their own thing and they're all beautiful, coming to life at different times here. But all of them enjoying my company as I enjoy theirs, and my watering of them in this really dry period we have here. Let's do 2 more. I know you guys could just do this forever. Never realize the time. This is where I'm really glad I have a blanket under my knees. You take yourself back. Bring yourself up into your hands and knees. And let's take and shoot 1 foot back. Come onto the ball of the foot there. And you're going to also here, we're going to just rock back and forth. And we're working into that foot some more, okay? So as we rock, we're also working into the calf. So it doesn't have to be fast. You can hang out in one position or the other, just a bit if you'd like. And then keeping now steadiness with that leg, foot grounded. That's my left foot that's back, maybe it's your right, but lift the opposite arm up so that we're balanced here and pointer dog. You may want to stay right here with the foot grounded. You might want to lift that back foot up so that we are reaching, toes maybe pointed, fingers pointing forward, feeling all the strength that it takes to balance here in this position. And so staying here, staying with the foot grounded, or take and bend elbow and knee. Bring yourself into a curl tuck round, extend out 3 more times. If you're doing this, or you're just working on that balance, or you're working at lengthening that back leg behind you with grounded on the floor. And then my hand comes down, my knee bends, I take it out, I bring it down. Take my knee out, I bring it down. 2 more times, out and down, fire hydrant pose here. And then let's take it up and let's take 4 circles forward. Get into those hips and 4 back. Good. And then just extend that leg back and place it on the ground. Bring it back right underneath your hip. And before we move into the next side, let's just take our hands, take those fingers back, open up the other side of our wrists, of our arms. You'll decide how much weight you want to press down there. Let's just take a couple breaths. This is kind of like Chris's request for the feet. This is a good request for the wrists. Again, just as much pressure feels right for you, but too often our wrists are working in the other direction. And then go ahead and come onto fists, just underneath your shoulders. And from here, lay one fist down, take the other hand up, fling out your fingers, bring it back into fist, take that hand down onto the fist. Other arm rises, close to the wall, rises, flick out those fingers, come back to the fist, take that hand down, and then find your hands flat again on the ground, and let's stretch that opposite leg back. So for me, it's my right leg. Find the ball of your foot there and find some movement to get into the calf, to get into that foot, to get into the groove of your breath, into the groove of your movement here. Good. And then from here, keep that foot grounded to begin with. I'm going to lift my other arm up. So it's my right foot grounded, my left arm's up, or whatever opposite you just did before. Stretching as far back as you can, as far forward as you can. Only lifting that back leg up if you want that more challenging pose. Pointing through the toes or staying on the ball of the foot. Finding yourself lengthening as much as possible. Staying here or with foot grounded, go ahead, curl tuck round, trying to touch elbow and knee, extending completely out, or again, just staying in that balanced pose with foot up or down. So we do 4 times total here. And we're using breath. Exhale as I come in. Inhale as I move out. Find myself really long, and then my hand comes down. Bend into that knee that was raised up, and then open and close 4 times. Inhale, exhale. And then take that knee out 4 times forward. 4 times back. And then extend that leg out. Place it back on the ground. Come back to knees and hips. Open up your knees. Slide your hands forward. Bring your forehead to the ground. Take a couple breaths here. And then sliding hands back, coming into all fours. Let's come onto the balls of the feet and just take 4 circles in one direction with those hips, getting that freedom of movement in the hips. And then reversing and going around that other way. Soon making a transition from all fours, staying on all fours, into down dog on all fours. So coming into center, place my hands up forward just a little bit more. Toes are tucked. Begin to lift my knees off the ground and take myself back Tailbone rises. My ears come right next to my biceps. I'm finding this upside down V. My legs may still be really bent, and that's okay. The main focus here for down dog is that straight spine and getting that sacral area to be in the highest point possible. That sacral area is so often where all of our weight is placed. So here we're letting our 4 pads of our 2 feet and 2 hands take the weight. And if you want, you can begin to walk your dog, bending in and out of each leg, finding that, maybe bringing movement all the way up into your hips. And then coming to stillness, pressing back, bringing yourself forward into plank. Place your knees down, knees up, plank, press back, exhale. Forward, inhale. Knees down, exhale. Knees up, inhale. Exhale back. A few more times, you guys have that rhythm now. Strengthening those arms. You don't want to ask for that, but we can all use it. 2 more, please. And you are strengthening your core as well here. And find your way back into down dog. And from here, let's walk our feet up to the edges of our mat and about the center of our mat. Just walk them up and then walk your hands back, kind of meet towards your feet. Come into a nice squat here. Again, tailbone is up, head is down. And you're just finding this nice release. So again, the neck takes so much weight all the time with our heads, and here we can just let it go and maybe make some circles with our head. And we're paying attention to our abdominal strength here as we're in this forward fold so that we can protect our lower spine. And then I'm going to take my fingers to the ground, still stay with my knees bent, and lift up through my tailbone and then sink back into my squat. Inhale here. Exhale, squat. Inhale. And exhale. A few more times, your breath. Getting into the back of the legs there. Maybe your legs don't straighten all the way. That's okay. That just means we're still opening up those channels. 1 more. Inhale, 2. Legs lengthen as much as they will for you. Take your hands to your hips and begin to lift yourself up. And this is where I'm going to adjust my camera. So I'm going to be standing here and making sure that you guys are able to see me. Yeah, you can see all but my feet, and that's okay. I can lead you through the feet part of it. So let's go ahead and stand in Tadasana in our mountain pose here. Let your shoulders relax. Let your body just get used to this feeling of uprightedness after being in that little ball and then growing into all those other different positions that we have today. So I lift our arms up. You can't see mine, but take a hold of one wrist, push away, and take yourself over. And then bring yourself up on an inhale. Take yourself over into this half moon on the other side. Bring yourself up. Switch wrists. Take it over again. At your exhale, when you come over, bring yourself up. Take yourself over. rising up, releasing wrists, fingers point towards the sky, bend into elbows. Let your heart rise, your hips come forward, your shoulders and elbows pull back, and then rise up, inhale. Let's do a couple more of those. Come into your cactus arms, then express the front side of your body. Rise up. Exhale, cactus arms. Let the front side of your body come forward. Pull back. Rise up. Una vez más, one more time. Pull down, lift forward, chin lifts, and rise up. And this time, take your left hand or either hand to the opposite shoulder and the hand that's extended to the bent elbow. And let's take ourselves over again, this time adding a tricep stretch to our also lateral stretch. Rising up. Reversing by lifting arms up, taking the opposite hand to your shoulder, opposite hand to that elbow point, and come on over. Bringing myself up. I don't think we did the other side when we had the other arm, but let's just do it now. And rise up, releasing arms, they come up. Let's take circles with our wrists as we slowly bring our arms all the way down. And you probably were only going one direction, so let's take the other direction and let's send those arms back up. Good, and exhale, let's let them come down. Good. And now we're going to come into five-pointed star. So my feet are going to spread out a bit. And right now I'm going to have all toes facing you, okay? So all my toes face you. And if my mat's running it this way, then the sides of my feet are parallel to that mat. Before I do much of anything else, I'm just going to slide down, lift one hand up towards my armpit. Come on over, slide on down, exhale. Yep, you guys got it there. Inhale when I come up, exhale. So I'm getting those side body stretches again, but this time with a different earth connection with my legs. And I'm also getting into the contours of my body. Let's do one more set here. Really exhaling through your nose. Come on down. Inhale. Exhale. And bring yourself up. Good. And then let's take our arms out here into this five-pointed star. And I'm going to take this foot or either foot, and I'm taking those toes towards the end of my mat, right? The other foot's going to stay just where it is. So I'm in position here to do triangle pose. I'm in position once I bend my knee to do warrior two. We're going to start with triangle pose. So I'm going to bring this part of my body with that leg that's forward. I'm going to bring it towards there. I'm going to bring myself back up. I'm going to take myself over, exhale. Feel that right in there. Bring myself up, inhale. Exhale, let myself slide over. Bring myself up. Exhale. Yeah, inhale. So this is prep for our triangle so that we can get the most extension out of it. One more time, exhale. Bring yourself up. And now we'll go into letting our body come down into triangle. If you have a block, this is a great place to put the block on the inside of your foot or on the outside of your foot. If not, no worries. Legs are staying straight. Arms come forward, forward, forward. And then one hand comes down anywhere but your knee, okay? If you have that block, it's great. If not, it's your shin or it's above. And if you have a little bend in that knee still, that's okay as well. In fact, always make sure you at least have a tiny slight bend so that you are not hyperextending in that knee, okay? You can also do this with your hand on a chair, and that gives really nice support as well, because all we're looking for here are some opening of the leg, opening of the side body. And so let's move that way a bit. Exhale. Inhale, bring the arm up. Exhale, take it over. Bring it up, inhale. And exhale. Good, 2 more times. Your breath. Taking arm up, bend into that front knee now. All right, so we're bending, and this brings it into, from triangle into extended side angle pose. Names don't really matter here. Your arm, again, hand is on the block, or you've taken it forearm to your thigh, and that's a really good place to be here too. And now we're going to make circles. Inhale this, exhale. Let's take it and come around the opposite way. Just getting into the shoulders is really a great way to relax the entire body. And then taking that arm up, bringing your body up, and look where you found yourself. Warrior 2. Front knee is bent. Oh, and right above that front ankle, arms are coming straight out from the side of your body. And from here, we're going to go inhale, lengthen that leg, exhale. Your breath brings you up. Your breath takes you down. Maybe you take a look forward when you come with that straight leg, arms up, and then you take a little look over that front arm when you come into that bent knee, and just getting a little bit of movement in your neck as well. So notice we've gone from triangle to extended side angle to a dancing warrior 2. Let's do 2 more, please. And then staying here, we're going to now navigate ourselves in a flowing way from warrior 2 into our reverse warrior. And we're going to take that in and out from our knee as well. So from here, exhale. This is our inhale. Rise up, leg lengthens, arm comes up, other arm comes behind or slide it down that leg. Find what feels good or switch it out from one to the other. Then we come into warrior 2 and then take it back. Exhale. Oh, no, this is inhale, sorry. Inhale and exhale. At least that feels better to me. Maybe you want to switch that around too. Maybe I'm also using my gaze to work into my knee a bit. I mean, to work into my neck, knee. Sounds like they start with the same, but we know that in English language, it doesn't really. And let's do 2 more. Inhale for me. Exhale. Inhale. So you guys are doing this in a vinyasa type way with the flowing and the movement, okay? Let's go ahead and straighten this front leg. Take those toes back forward and be really happy that we just went through quite a flow together. And let's take the toes out for a moment before we go into that transition to the other side. And let's just slide our hands down to our knees. Let's come into a squat and come up. Exhale down. Bring ourselves up, inhale. Exhale down, squatting, bringing hands up. 2 more times, exhale down. Bring them up and exhale down. Good, you guys, that looks great. All right, toes back forward. Placement of our toes is real important when we're setting ourselves up for our different standing postures, especially warriors, because there's a little difference between warrior 1, warrior 2, a difference between warrior 3. So I've got my feet, toes towards you, and the sides of my feet are parallel to the edge of my mat. Now I'm going to take my opposite foot and I'm turning those toes towards the edge of the mat, okay? And I'm going to extend my arms long, and I'm going to work myself back and forth here, like I did before. Okay, pulling, one arm's pulling, somebody's pulling me, and then I come up, somebody pulls me the other way. I don't know if we did that on the other side. I think we just came to center, but this feels good. Might as well get as much out of it as we can. Yeah, so push me, pull me, tug of war with my body. Feel this in your obliques. Oof. Yeah. One more set. Find myself nice and straight and take myself over, and remembering that this knee maybe is still really bent just because of the back side of the leg. And if it's straight, make sure you really connect it with all the muscles in that knee so you don't hyperextend. And then that hand comes to your thigh, your shin, or I love the blocks, or a chair would work as well, okay? And we're gonna come on up with our arm up and just open up into this, maybe pulling the shoulder back and feeling that connection there with our heart space. And from here, lifting those fingers up high, exhale, take them over. Rise up, inhale. Take it over with your breath. Bring it on up. Exhale over. So you're going from this triangle. You're just extending that extended triangle. All right, so let's do 2 more. Arm lifts, knee bends, take it into about a 90 degrees so that other foot might need to move back a bit, all right? And again, you can keep that hand on the block, or you can take your hand, forearm to your thigh, and let's take those circles. Getting into the shoulder. And reversing. And then taking that arm up and bringing our body up, finding ourselves in warrior 2. Great. We've gone through now that triangle phase and extended side angle phase. And now we find ourselves in our warrior 2. And here we're going to dance with that. So we inhale, lengthen that leg, arms up. Exhale, we take it down, maybe look in that direction. Find your breath, find your movement. And if you're constricted in some way, shape, or form by the space that you're using, then just move, right? You guys are here. So move according to what feels right for you, your space, your time, your efforts. Two more, please. Dancing warrior 2 with breath. Finding warrior 2, settling into that for just a bit. And then we're going to dance in and out of our reverse warrior. This is our exhale. Inhale, hand drops down that leg or behind you. That's your inhale. Come back. Take it into down, into warrior 2. Look at all the shapes your body's able to make. Amazing. So important for our bodies to move. Let's do 2 more. Finding warrior 2, being present with that for a moment and your breath. Then extend that leg long, place those toes forward, find yourself in 5-pointed star. And let's go ahead, take our hands, slide them down, maybe to your shins. If you have a block, that's a really good place to find yourself. So you can find a long spine. Let your sits bones spread apart a little bit. Finding your connection with your spine parallel to the ground. And from here, go ahead and begin to walk in your feet little by little until they touch. And then bend into the knees. Take your hands to the ground and come into curl tuck round yoga ball. Real similar to how we started, right? In that real contracted phase. But we have our feet grounded this time rather than our shins. And from here, go ahead and take yourself to the ground so we can get some of those hip openers in during this last 15 minutes. I'm going to go ahead and change the view so you guys can see me better on the ground. Yeah. And let's get some hips going here. So I'm going to go ahead and lay myself back and find myself with my knees bent, my feet in close to my hips. First, just take a few breaths. Again, making those transitions from one position to another, to another. And then let's walk our feet in and maybe our arms come out. Shoulder height, crossing one knee over the other. And letting myself with control, not just let them fall, but with control, let those knees come to one side as I look in the opposite direction. Feeling that in the hips, right? Because I'm internally, externally rotating here, bringing myself with my knees up, my gaze forward. That took abdominal and oblique strength. And now I'm going to let my hips shift with my knees over to the opposite direction and look in the opposite direction that my knees just went. Feeling that nice release in our hips. Inhaling the knees up. Switching out those legs so the opposite knee is on top. Chin stays tucked. Let myself fall, not fall, but control my descent of my knees in one direction, looking over my shoulder in the opposite direction. Inhaling, lifting up. Exhaling, taking it over in the opposite direction, looking. Bring myself up. And release my legs and take one foot down and the other foot I'm going to lift and put that ankle right behind the knee there. And I'm going to work myself, this is figure 4. I'm going to work myself into my hip a little bit more here. I'm going to come into the ball of my foot and feel that in the back of my foot and then lift my foot off the ground. That's the next step. Trying to keep that leg, this leg, okay, parallel to the ground. And maybe do a few of these bringing that knee, this knee, closer to my shoulder, and this knee, the opposite knee, closer to the other shoulder, really. And then finding myself just in a still position for a moment, and then taking little circles. You're going to feel yourself rotating on your sacral area, and then take those circles in the other way. So working into the hips, but also our obliques and our leg strength too. And then maintaining a nice straight cervical spine, chin slightly tucked. If you want to go into a little deeper expression of this, you will hold your hands interlaced behind your thigh or under your kneecap. And you bring those legs in a little bit more, only if you need or want that. Only if you need or want, you can make sure both feet are flexed. You're working into the outside part of that right hip. Chin is tucked. Good. And then I'm going to release my hands. If I held them, one foot comes down, the other foot comes down, and before I go to the other side, let's windshield wiper our knees. This is a really good one for hips, okay? So you can do this in bed without pulling out a mat. Just take and windshield wiper. It's like you can also do it seated upright, just bend the knees. And let them go left and right. Just feels really good. And now we're going to switch sides. I'm going to take the opposite ankle to the opposite knee, flex into that upper foot, come onto the ball of the foot that's grounded, and lifting that foot off the ground and flex into that and find that parallel position of my shin and the earth connection there. And start to make some little motions here, trying to bring those knees in closer to my torso, my shoulders, using my core strength here. If you take your fingers into your core, you're going to feel it working by doing that. Same thing, take some circles, so we can get into some other aspects of our abdominal muscles. And let's go around in the opposite direction. Just these little tiny circles rotating on that sacral spine. And then bringing that knee in a little bit more, using hands, the strength of the interlaced hand behind your thigh or under your knee. If any of that feels good for you, chin stays tucked. Breathe into what you're feeling. That sensation only gets better through time. Really good for our hips. Yeah. I'm releasing my hands, releasing one foot, then the other, and then windshield wiper. Massaging into the outside part of my hip. Yeah. And then one of the happiest poses on earth is happy baby. So we're going to take our knees, so they're about shoulder distance, bring them in, place our feet in the flex position, so it's like they're holding up the ceiling, and trying to keep the tailbone grounded. You don't want to come up too far like that, okay? So keep it grounded. Take your elbows on the inside of your knees and maybe separating those knees a little bit more. And then your hands come to wherever they connect, maybe to the sides of your feet if you're pulling down those knees a little bit more. Otherwise, they're on your calves, your shins. Our back is totally straight and flat. Cervical spine is nice and long Chin is tucked. This feels really good. No more breathing. And if you want to play with that baby, that happy baby, you roll around. And maybe extending one leg out. And bring it in. Extending the other leg out. And bring it in. Extending both legs out. And bring them in. And then releasing. Feet down. Hands down. Let's just do 4 bridge poses here. Really good for our abdominal area, for our spine. We're going to keep weight on the hands and shoulders, not our neck. We bring our hips up, inhale. And we exhale slowly, take them down, vertebrae by vertebrae. 3 more times, please. Pressing into feet, shoulders, hands, arms, not in your neck. And come on down. But because your chin is tucked, and when you lift up especially, you're getting some good pressure there on that thyroid gland. It's just that we're not taking weight back into that neck area, okay? Good. And then cross your ankles or roll to the side and bring yourself up into seated, or roll up and bring yourself into seated. And let's do a little bit more for our hips here. I'm going to go ahead and open up into Tadasana, which is it's a star diamond shaped position here. And our hips are open, not quite as much as if we were in Baddha Konasana or in our Sukhasana pose, but it's a nice little opening to just do a little bit of finding our body. Let our head drop, exhale, finding our shape, bringing our hands to knees, look up, inhale, take ourselves down, exhale, bring yourself up, inhale, exhale. Couple more, please. And then bringing yourself up. And now let's make that transition into Baddha Konasana, butterfly pose, bringing one foot up. And maybe that's best for you just to do one and you keep the other one like this, or you can bring the other one up as well, trying to really sit up on those sits bones, holding on to your ankles here, and just finding that open expression of your knees. Then taking your hands behind you, weight down into your palms. And from here, lift, if you want or can, your hips off the ground. Maybe let your chest rise up. Or maybe rocking back and forth. I see Sherry doing that, and that's a really good thing to do too. But also if you want to just lift and play with the strength of your upper body and the lightness of your hips. Inhale and exhale. And then holding on again. And let's take a few circles with our torso. Holding on to knees or ankles or wherever you feel you're able to maintain this connection and reversing. And if you only had one leg in, then you should switch that out and get some connection and opening with that other hip. Good. And then let's take those legs together, hands behind you, and then open up. Inhale. Flat feet. Exhale. Inhale. Bring them up. So this is where that butterfly comes in, right? Inhale. And we should be seeing some pretty butterflies coming out here pretty soon. First, I think they have those cabbage moths, those white butterflies. But I still like them that come out. 2 more. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Good. And then let's find ourselves seated in Sukhasana. And It's really advisable when you sit down to have your hips a little bit higher, or at least at the same height as your knees. And it just helps you to open up a little bit more. So sitting on a block or sitting on a blanket, doubled over, quadrupled over, just helps a little bit with that opening, that you're going to feel like you're able to open up a little bit more and still maintain that nice straight spine. So let's find that. Let's take about 6 breaths with this leg position, and then we're going to switch out. Okay, so just find yourself breathing in calm, breathing in beauty, breathing in whatever intention you may have for today. And breathing out the action that an intention takes. What will I do with what I want? One more breath here. And then switch out your legs. Bring that other leg forward so that we have evenness here. Find yourself right up on those sits bones. Maybe your palms are up. Now maybe you want to take them down, or one up, one down, or just leave them. And let's take 6 or so full breaths here. Taking ourselves back into a state of homeostasis, balance, harmony. Good practice today, you guys. Taking my hands to my heart, recovering that heart center. And just coming into our sense of who we are, bowing down into our true teacher, yourself, your own vision of guiding yourself through your practice, your own bringing yourself to your practice. In gratitude for that, from my heart to yours. Thank you for your presence. Namaste. Thanks, you guys. Hope I got enough hip opening in for you. Hope we got those feet